Hey guys, I'm Melissa.
I'm Patty.
And we are
Efecto podcast.
Welcome back. Part 2
of our catchup.
Yep.
Yes, so hope you guys enjoyed last week's episode. It was a lot for us to unpack, but hopefully you guys kind of understand why we were gone for so long, at least through April. But you're probably like, okay, bitches, that was April.
Happened?
What happened in May? We're in fucking June and y'all bitches barely posting.
Yep.
I'm gonna fucking tell you what happened. I don't know if I'm ready. I'm scared.
I'm nervous, but
fuck. Like, I don't even know where to fucking. Okay. The last thing I was talking about was my work trip. So, this work trip, I go to Boston 4 times a year for this type of like meeting, and it's like a week-long meeting. Usually I'm there from a Sunday to a Thursday. I come back Thursday night, or I land back Thursday night. This time I was gonna stay an extra day because one of my coworkers from our Hong Kong office was gonna be in town, and we're gonna use that last day to spend time with him and like review something that we were working on. So I was gonna stay the whole week. And honestly, guys, like, usually I get really excited for like these work trips, but there was just something in me where I was like, bitch, I don't want to go. Like, I don't know what it is. Like, no tenía ganas de nada. I don't know what it was. I don't know. My energy, just like, even the week before, like leading up to it, I just was like dreading it. Like, and these weeks it's a lot. Like, you have to be on, and it's just mentally, physically, and like emotionally draining just doing this meeting. It's very beneficial, and it is very crucial to like our business. And yeah, it was also the first time that like my new manager was coming. I had never had a manager, at least from California, come with us. So I think I had that added pressure on me to like, I want to show up even better, because I've only worked with her like a couple days, and then I was gone because of like everything with our tío, and then I was on vacation. So like, actually I worked with her for a couple weeks. So I had all of that. So I was very stressed, and I was just like, and then I've just been like in a weird like mood, in a weird wave or whatever, where it's just been like pulling teeth to kind of do things at work. I don't know what it was. So I go to Boston Sunday, like midday. My flight was supposed to be at 7 a.m. And then when I went to go check in on Saturday, I saw that it was delayed, and I didn't have to go. My flight didn't go till 12. So I was like, okay, at least I saw that. But like, now I land at like 9. So I get to the airport. My flight got delayed again. So I don't remember what time I actually took off, but I didn't get off the plane till like 10 p.m. I checked into my hotel like 11, and I needed to be in the lobby by 7:30 the next day. So I already was like not getting in, like, hadn't really eaten anything. I needed to unpack, shower, go to bed, couldn't sleep, and like I slept the whole time on the airplane, and then had to wake up, whatever. So I definitely was not feeling my best that first day. I didn't feel any jet lag, and I just didn't feel my best. And then we did a team dinner, or like a California team dinner, and then whatever, like the next day, same thing. I woke up and I felt like shit, dude. I felt like shit. I literally was like, ugh, like I had a huge migraine. I think I'm just dehydrated and like tired. So whatever, I go throughout my day. Again, it's a lot. And I like noticed this in myself, that like I'm really quiet during like the meeting. I'm not like as vocal. I'm like still participating, with just not as much as I have been in the past. And I'm like in my mind telling myself like, bitch, like you need to show up, like you need to do this and that. Couldn't do it. I didn't want to. Like I literally was like I don't want to be here. Yeah. Like what? And I was like, what the fuck is wrong with me? Because that's not me. Like when I show up to work, I'm there to work. I show up, I make sure I do the best that I can do. And I just thought it was weird. So I was like, man, what's going on with me? And I was telling my coworkers, I'm like, I feel off. And they're like, you're probably jet lagged. They're like, there's no expectation that you're like working at 100% right now. And I was like, I don't know. Yeah. I'm like, everyone kept saying like, that's what it is. And I'm like, I guess. We had a team dinner that night, and I didn't feel good still. My migraine was so bad. I was like, I couldn't wait to get to the hotel to shower and go to sleep. Literally showered, went to sleep. The next day is when I texted you. And I told you, and I was like, bitch, I don't know what's wrong with me. Like, I don't know what it is. So now it's Wednesday. It's Wednesday, May 8th. And I text Mely, and I'm like, remember, I'm 3 hours ahead. I'm like, bitch, hope you have a great day. I'm like, wish me luck. I was like, I don't know what's wrong with me, but like, I don't have like the energy or like the want to participate. And I feel like shit. I have a migraine. I'm super nauseous. Like, I don't know if I'm getting sick. Like, I don't feel good. I don't want to be here. I don't know why. I was like, since last night. So that was that. Put my phone do not disturb. And this is like the last like day of before we like finish like the big part of like this meeting. And I just had to get through like lunch, and like we literally knocked everything out like through lunch. So it's like maybe like 10:30 a.m. We're like all meeting or whatever, and then I run to like to take a bathroom break, and I took my personal phone, and on my way I see that I have a text from my dad. Again, my phone's on do not disturb the whole time. So as I'm walking to the restroom, I open it, and it says, "Mama, call me, it's urgent." When I tell you my heart dropped, I was like, oh, son of a bitch. Son of a bitch. Immediately what came to my mind was like, something happened to my mom or something happened to my grandma. So I'm like, okay. And then I'm like, I go to the bathroom and I do my business. And then I'm like, okay, do I call him? Do I not? Like, I was in the bathroom like, fuck it, I'm gonna call him. I call him. He doesn't answer. I took that as a sign, as like, you're not done working. You're not supposed to get that phone call right now. So don't call back. Put my phone back on do not disturb. But I have it in the back of my mind like, fuck, like, can we finish this? Because I want to call him. So that was like 10:30, 10:45. I go back into the room. We're working. We just ordered lunch. And like the whole time I was there, my manager on the East Coast was like, Patty, he was like, I want you to try this like Spanish food place. He's like, it's like Mexican food. He's like, but it's Brazilian owned, but it's Mexican food. He was like, I want you to try it. And he said that from Monday. So I told him, I was like, okay, one of these days while I'm here, like, can we order it for lunch so I can try it? He's like, okay, Wednesday. Cool. I order. I'm so excited. He's like excited for me to try this. Like, he's been itching for me to get to Boston to try this and like give my review on it. So like the food gets there and we're on like literally the last section. We had to go through like a couple items to talk through, and then we were done. Cool. We finished and we're like, oh my God, yay. Like the hard part is over. Now it's just like double checking everything, physically moving stuff around, recapping all that. It's okay, let's break for lunch. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to call my dad. I grab my phone, take it off do not disturb, had a missed call. I walk out of the room, and my coworker who works with me in LA, he went to the restroom. So he was already out like in the hallway. And then there was another assistant that was in front of me. I call my dad, and like the second ring, he answers the phone. And he goes, yeah, that's how and I said, what happened? And he said, okay, mama, relax. And when he said that, I already knew someone had passed, because he starts every conversation like that when he has to tell someone that someone has passed. So I'm thinking, again, the worst, my grandma. Like, what happened to my grandma? You know, I literally just lost my uncle, like, literally a month, like, at this point, like, 2 months before, but, like, he was just buried a month ago. And my grandma would always say, like, I can't live without him. So I was, like, thinking the worst. I was like, oh my God, my mom. And then I'm like, yeah. And my dad's like, well, you know, Danny's my oldest brother. He lived in San Diego. I don't know, for those of you that know, I have two older brothers. Danny, who is in his late 40s, and then I have another brother who's 5 years older than me. My dad was like, yeah, you know, like, for a while, we didn't hear from Danny, like, and then he was like, well, we were going back and forth, we were worried about, my dad was just, like, rambling. And while I'm on the phone, I'm, like, walking down the hallway, and I'm like, just spit it out already. And he goes, okay. And he's like, Danny died. And I'm like, what? I'm like, are you joking? And he's like, this isn't a joke. And I was like, no, like, I know it's not a joke, but, like, huh? Like, what happened? He's like, I don't know. And I'm like, what? I'm just, like, crying. And at that point, like, I'm literally on the phone, leaning on a wall, just, like, tears running down my face. My coworker, who, the one from LA, walks out the restroom, sees me, and he's, like, smiling. And then he looks at me, and he just, like, is like, what happened? And I'm like, my brother died. And he's like, I'm so sorry. And I just, like, break. And he's like, do what you have to do. And I told my dad, I'm coming home. My dad's like, do whatever you, like, do what you need to do for you. I was like, I'm coming home. And I hang up on him. And I literally was like, I literally said to my coworker, I was like, this is a fucking joke. Mm-hmm. He was like, I'm so sorry. He was like, why don't you go to, like, a private room? Take your time. So I, like, run to the restroom. And he's, like, updating my managers. And I'm, like, in the bathroom, and I just break. I'm just, like, crying hysterically. Like I've never cried before. Like, screaming, crying. And then I hear the door open. And I'm, like, all quiet. And I just hear Patty. I open the stall. And my manager literally looks at me. And she's like, what the fuck? And I just, like, fall into her arms. And I'm just crying. And she's like, what do you want to do? And I was like, I need to go home. She's like, okay, we got to change your flight. Because, again, I'm supposed to leave Friday night. This is Wednesday. So she helps me. Like, we call the travel agency. And literally, like, I couldn't even fucking have a conversation with the travel agent. Like, she literally had to, like, tell me what to say word for word. Because I just couldn't. I was like, she's like, I need to change my flight. I originally was going to fly this, blah, blah, blah. She helps me. And then she's like, okay, like, do you need me to take you to the hotel to check out? I was like, no, like, and I honestly was like, I just want to be by myself. Mm-hmm. Like, I called the Lyft. I was like, I'll get myself where I need to get myself. So then I had so much anxiety. I have to go back to, like, the room where everyone was. Because, like, I didn't know if they knew at the time. Mm-hmm. Now I know they didn't know. And I walk in, I'm, like, crying, and everyone's just, like, trying not to look at me, but also, like, what the fuck is going on? So I'm, like, rushing to grab my stuff. And so my East Coast manager comes, like, running in, and he's like, I was looking for you, and he just, like, holds me. He's like, I'm so sorry. He's like, you got your stuff? I said, yeah. He's like, okay, let's go. And I was like, oh, I got a lift. He was like, cancel it. He was like, I'm taking you to the hotel, and I'm going to rush you to the airport. I was like, okay. Literally, and bitch, it's so weird because whenever I'm on these trips and I'm in the hotel room, I usually pack as, like, the days go. So, like, after Sunday I'll pack, or like on Monday I'll pack everything from Sunday, just so that it's like easier on the last day. I pack a little bit and then I'm done. This time, like, I was like, I'm gonna be here for the whole week, like I'll pack like on Thursday or whatever, or like Wednesday I'll start to pack. I hadn't packed anything. I had everything out. My hair stuff, my makeup, my clothes, everything, and I unpacked. Usually I don't fully unpack. I unpacked everything. Literally got to the hotel. I don't know how I did it. I looked at the time. In 5 minutes, I packed up my entire room. But bitch, I didn't just throw shit. Like, I literally, like, everything organized. I changed. Boom. Got back downstairs. I had to do an early checkout. I got rushed to the airport. I made it just in time. And I joked to my manager. Like, he didn't want to, like, ask me too many questions. He was like, you can tell me to shut up. We can talk about anything. Like, we could shoot the shit. And I was like, no, it's okay. Like, I was like, we can talk. I was like, it'll keep my mind, like, busy. But I'm just, like, still, like, dumb. Like, what the fuck is going on? And I was, like, crying. And I was like, I'm really sad. He's like, I know. And I was like, no. I was like, I didn't even get to try the food. And he starts laughing. He was like, it's okay. He was like, I thought that too. He was like, I was going to tell you to bring it with you. I was like, I thought about it, but I was like, it wasn't the time. He was like, when you come back to Boston, we'll get it again. I was like, okay. I was like, make sure someone has it. And then I get to the airport. I, like, make sure I get through security and everything. And then I call you. And I'm like, hey, bitch. You're like, hey, bitch. Oh, and randomly, I had checked your location. Like, I was, like, looking at our text, and I hit your name. And, like, I was like, oh, shit. And I was like, might as well. I was like, where's she at? I was like, is she in the office? And I saw that you were in downtown LA. And I was like, oh. I was like, she's not at the office today? I was like, oh, maybe she's, like, buying inventory for, like, this auntie. So in my head, I was like, oh, she's, like, doing that or whatever, working from home. And then when I call her, I've gone through security, everything. I got food. And I'm like, hey. She's like, hey. And I'm like, do you know? And you're like, yeah, bitch. So I'm going to stop there. Can you give your point of view?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so, like, I mean, whatever day it's an office day. Obviously, it's a Wednesday. I go, getting ready. We were just starting our day, so it was like 9 something, or I don't even remember what time, but I was just literally starting the day, and we had like a presentation like to get to. And then I remember I'm like grabbing my stuff, and I was like, oh, let me run to the restroom first. By this time, like, my manager and had like went into the room, whatnot. I see a text, and then I see my text, and then it was my mom. She's like, hey, can you talk? And I was like, oh God. And then I was like, okay, whatever. And then she calls me, and then I didn't answer because I was going to the restroom. And then I get another text. She's like, hey, like, I need to talk. And I was like, oh God. So I'm like, okay. So I go into my manager's office. No, I didn't even go into the office yet, like into her office yet. Like, I come back from the restroom, I'm in my cube, and then I call her, and then she's like, are you alone? Like, are you busy? And I said, Mom, like, what is it? And like, I already kind of also expected, like, oh fuck, like something happened. And then she's like, well, like, are you alone? I was like, fuck. So then when she said that, I go into like my manager's office, and this time she's, in the meeting room waiting with one of our partners for like our meeting. And then she just tells me, she's like, she was just like, Mama, so Danny like passed. And I was like, wait, what? Like, what do you mean? She's like, yeah, like Danny, the Chine, like he passed away, like he died. I was like, what do you mean? Like, I was like, what do you mean he passed? Like, what happened? And then she was just like, I don't know yet. Like, I don't know. And then like, I literally like, I just like started like bawling, because one, I was like, what the fuck? Like, and then all I can think about was like literally the moment I was like, oh my God, Patty. I was like, she's in Boston for work. Like, what the fuck? And then like, I thought about, like, the conversation we had that morning too. And I was like, what the fuck? I was like, oh my God, like, it was fucking crazy. So whatever, like talking to her, just like crying, just like calm down. I was like, no, like, I gotta go. Like, I gotta go. And then at that moment, like I took my moment like in the office, and then I at that point I go back to one of our other team members who's part of like a different team that she was also going to be in that meeting. She sees me, she's like, Melissa, like, what's wrong? And then I just told her, I was like, hey, like, you know, I have to go. I was like, can you please tell Erin, like I'm heading out, like I can't go in there, can you tell her to come into her office? So I grab my stuff, I go into Erin's office, well, my manager's office. And then she comes in and she sees me crying. Like, she just saw my eyes, but at this point, like, my makeup was fucked up, like everything, like it was just done. And she's like, what happened? And I was like, hey, like, you know, like my cousin, like, you know, just passed away. And then she's like, what? And I'm like, Patty's brother. And she's met Patty before, and she just kind of looked at me and literally the same thing. She's like, Melissa, what the fuck? Because we had just gone through all of this. Like, that's all. She's just like, what the fuck? And she just like hugs me, and she has just been through a passing too. So she starts crying. I start crying. She's like, go, pack your stuff, leave, like, just go. And I go. And then, like, at that point, I'm talking to my mom. My mom's, like, with Patty's parents. And then I'm like, does Patty know, like, what's going on? She's like, I don't know. And I'm like, well, what's happening? And then at that point, that's when they're telling me, like, oh, like, Gina's talk to her. And all this stuff. I was just, like, processing so much. And I think we were, like, texting her. There was something. And I was like, what do I do? I was like, I cannot, like, at that point, I didn't know if she knew. I was like, I can't. Like, I can't. Like, I was like, I can't lie to her. Like, if she calls me, and then I had a missed call, I think, first. And then I don't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
And I had the missed call from you. And I was like, oh, my God. I was like, and I had so much anxiety because I was like, I can't, like, not answer and, like, not tell her. But then I don't know. Like, and again, you're in Boston. And then, yeah, finally, like, yeah, she calls me again. At this point, I'm already on my way, like, to her house. And then that's when she tells me, and I was just like, oh, my God. Like, what the fuck do I say? Like, I didn't know what to say. Again, like, she's, you know, in Boston for work. And in those moments, it was just so much unknown that I was like, I don't know what to say. I don't know what's happening. I just know my mom's, you know, at her house, and her parents were about to head out. And so I show up to her house. And by that time, her parents had left. But just like my mom and like Miki and Marlon. And then I see Georgie. And I was just like, oh, shit, okay. Like, you know, it's like, it's, like, real. And again, like, I was just like, oh, fuck. Like, fuck, here we go again. Like, I was just like, oh, shit. And,
I'm hella vocal.
yeah, and I was just like, fuck, like, here we go again, you know? And obviously, it was just kind of like they're, like, we hug each other, we talk to Georgie. And I was just like, what happened? Like, it was just literally like, we're like, well, I was like, what the fuck? Like, what happened? And then by that time, we knew she was coming back. And then, you know, Miki, and they were like, I think you should get Patty. I was like, yeah. I was like, definitely, like, I'll for sure get her. Marina calls me. She said, please, like, thank you. And yeah, so we know I'm waiting for her. And then she tells me.
Because literally, so now I'm at the airport, and she tells me all that, like, yeah, I'm at your house, blah, blah. She's like, I'm picking you up from the airport. Yeah. I was like, where are my parents? And that's what she tells me. They left. So I was like, oh, okay. In my head, I'm like, oh, they're in San Diego. I don't know how long. Yeah. It might be a while. Like, in my head, I'm like, oh, they're going to probably stay overnight. So that's what I have in my head. So then I told Mely, oh, no, wait. So I told Mely, I was like, I land at 4:30 or some shit like that. Because that's what it said. It said I landed at 4:30. So she's like, okay, yeah, like, I'll see you later. I was like, okay, yeah. So I get onto the plane, and I don't know what it is, but, like, once I got to the airport, like, I was sad, but I think I was in, like, travel mode, where I was like, let me just get to my gate. Mm-hmm. I got food, let me eat. I got snacks. And then once I got to the plane, I watched, like, 3 movies, and I slept. Mm-hmm. And it, like, I don't know what it was, but on the plane, like, I wasn't processing anything. Like, I knew I was going home, and I knew I was coming back early for something sad, but, like, it didn't really, like, hit me. Mm-hmm. There was a moment where, like, I teared up a little bit, but I just, like, put on a funny movie, and then I was like, okay, let's just keep it going. Yeah. So, whatever, a 6-hour flight. And then I have Wi-Fi. And Mely, That's where I get a text from Mely. And what did you say?
I was like, oh, by the way, like I was like, I'm here. I'm by the cars, Junior, and just let me know when you're closer to the gate so then I can just go. And by this time it was like literally at 4:30, but I was like, okay, we live close by, and I kind of like know like to like how long it takes to get your stuff. And I was like, did you have a checked bag to even calculate my time more? And then she's like, bitch, I'm still on the plane.
Yeah, I was like, bitch, I have like 3 hours.
And it was funny because I had tracked her just for the same reason to like see where I was at, and I saw she was fucking over Wyoming. I don't even know where. And I was like, what? And then until she told me, I was like, oh my God. And I'm like, it didn't click when I like it didn't click like, dude, Boston's not that close. And I even thought about it. I was like, oh, that kind of was a quick trip. Like it was a quick flight.
Yeah.
And then I'm talking to like Amanda. She's like, oh, text me when you guys like get to her house, whatever. I was okay, I'm gonna pick her up at 4:30. And then at this point I was like, bitch. I was like, it's 7:30. And she's like, she's in Boston time. And but yeah, so then I go back. I was like, well, might as well go wash my car. And yeah, finally, like, pick her up.
Oh, when I was like, can you get me a Coke and French fries?
I was like, I got you. And yeah, like, and literally, like, at the same, like Patty mentioned, like, I thought, I don't know, I, like, in that moment, I kind of put myself in her shoes, and I kind of know, like, she's gonna need that time, like, for herself and stuff. So what I did, I drove through her house, just to see, like, okay, who's here. I know at this point, like, many, I had heard that they were, like, on their way back, but I didn't know. And I mean, I was just like, fuck, okay, like, there's a lot of people already. So I kind of, like, I kind of told her, I, like, warned her too. I was like, hey, like, just so you know, like, there's people. And
I know that was literally like when I landed, and I'm like waiting for her, and I like checked my work phone. My work phone is getting blown up. Like, I have the like EVP in Boston sending me an email, I'm so sorry for your loss. My VP from California called me. I sent him to voicemail, and he left me this, like, I literally like was listening to it as Mely was pulling up, and I was just like crying, like, oh my God. Everyone literally was just like, I'm sorry, I don't have the words, because they know how hard it was when my tío passed. Like, I was not okay. And like, I'm very grateful for my job and the people I work with, because they were there for me. Like, in more ways than one. So everyone was just like, I'm like, they had no words. Because what do you tell someone who just found out suddenly that they lost a sibling after losing a family member and having to bury them not even 30 days before? So literally, again, this whole time, like, when I was on the plane, I was like, okay, I'm probably gonna have the house to myself. I was like, because my parents are gonna be here, they're gonna be in San Diego. I was like, perfect. I was like, that's what I need. I was like, I just want to be alone so I can just like cry by myself and just like process everything by myself. And I even said, I was like, oh, today's Wednesday. I was like, I'll probably like spend the night at my grandma's house, if anything, like if I don't want to be alone. And that's when you pick me up, and you're like, hey, bitch. And I asked, I was like, are my parents still in San Diego? And you're like, bitch, everyone's at your house. And bitch, I just start crying. I was like, I'm not ready. Like, I can't. I was like, I get it. I understand. Like, everyone wants to be there. I was like, but I can't. Like, I need, like, I'm a processor. I need to process my shit on my own. And like, I don't want to walk in to like everyone being there. Like, I didn't want that at all.
And that's one of the reasons too. Like, I was like, let me, like, drive by just in case. And I knew, like, when her parents had left, I knew there was a few members that were gonna stay. But same, I was like, oh, they're not gonna be back. And then once my mom told me, like, oh no, they're on their way back, like, I think I'm gonna head over there too. And that's when I was like, let me drive by there. And I drove by, and I was like, fuck. And I was like, no, I have to tell Patty, because it seemed like I kind of figured, I'm like, no, she's obviously, like, in our head, like, well, in my head, like, she's gonna want that time. So I kind of was like, fuck, I need to tell her so she can mentally prepare, because you're getting there, and you're gonna get, one, see your parents, and then on top of that, everyone else is already there, so you have to You know, I just kind of knew. I was like, fuck.
Yeah. And I saw all these questions. I was like, I kept asking Mely, and Mely goes, bitch, I don't know.
I was like hearing different things, and then
I'm like, what happened? She's like, bitch, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, until this day, we don't 100% know what happened. And unfortunately, we're not going to know for a bit more.
Yeah.
All we know that it was sudden, obviously. I just remember, like, when we got to the house, one of my cousins was out in the front with his son, and I was like taking my time, like trying to get things out, because I was like, you know, like when you don't want to do something, you like te haces mensa. Like I was like doing that. Like Melly was helping me. She got my suitcase out. I'm like, oh, I need to get my fries and my soda. Like I'm trying to like hold myself together, and then I like turn around, and I see my dad walking out. And Melly was in front of me, so Melly, all I see is Melly like holding my dad, and they're just like crying. And then my nephew was outside, and I was like trying to hold it together, and he just hugged me, and I like broke. I was like screaming, crying. And then when my dad hugged me, I couldn't, like I was just like, oh, like crying. I almost like fell. And then I hugged my cousin, I hugged his son, and then my mom. And my mom she was like, apenas pasamos por esto. And like, what kills me is that like my brother was alone. Like when they found him, he was alone. That night was hard. So literally all the people that were in the back, my dad like had taken my bags to my room already. I just went straight inside, and then I just come into like a house full of people. So I'd say hi to everyone, and literally I'm just like numb. Like as people are hugging me, they're crying, and I'm just like I'm not crying. I'm just holding myself like, and then I say hi to them, and I just go to my room.
Yeah.
I go to my room, and I'm just laying there in the dark crying. And then after a bit, I go outside. I'm with everyone. I start to hear bits and pieces of like what happened, but we still don't know till this day what happened. And then it took a while for like us to even like get services. So obviously I didn't work that week. I got the rest of that. I didn't work the rest of that week. They had an appointment the following Tuesday. So again, he passed May 8th. They didn't have an appointment till the 16th, the following, or I mean the 15th, the Tuesday after. So from that day through on, there's people at my house every single day, till like 1, 2, 3 in the morning sometimes. My cousin, and this is the thing about my brother. He didn't live in LA. He lived in San Diego. But Mr. West Los, like
the video.
they can look for me all they want in LA. I live in San Diego. He lived a rough life for sure. He suffered a lot. In more ways than like one person should ever have to suffer. Emotionally, like he went through a lot of shit. But like, no se quejaba de nada. Like, you would look at him and like, he had the biggest heart.
Biggest fucking heart. Literally, guys, he looks scary, but he's a fucking teddy bear. Like, that's crazy.
For those, like, he didn't play about the people that he loved.
Yeah.
And like,
brought everyone together.
Literally brought everyone together. Like, I have a big family. And like, with the big family, there's a lot of personalities. Like, not everyone always sees eye to eye. But when my brother came to town, it was like, oh, Primo's having a barbecue, a carne asada at Pops' house, at my house. Everyone would come.
Yeah.
Everyone. He literally brought everyone together, and everyone knew when Danny was here, you're getting drunk. You're going to drink like no other.
Shot o'clock.
Little shot o'clock. And if you heard Buzzin' by Man, is a wrap.
Yeah.
pour the shots, because the story behind that is my brother grew up in West LA, did his little thing in the streets, and he is like West LA ride or die. Like, and like we grew up in West LA, went to school in West LA and all that stuff. And in the song, when he first heard it, and he was like, "What did that say?" And it says, "West LA baby, West LA made me this way." Ever since he heard it, that was his ringtone. Like, that's his song. Everyone knows that was his personality. West, being from West Los,
Yep.
Mr.
Yes,
West
got
Los
freaking t-shirt, everything.
was his personality. Life of the party, all of that. So yeah, it was just hard, and like still processing everything. Obviously, I didn't work for like a month. All of May I didn't work because unfortunately we couldn't get services until like Memorial Day weekend. So that was really hard. And I thought I was like coping pretty well until it was like the Sunday before the funeral. And then it was like countdown. And that's when I started getting anxiety. That's when I was like, oh shit, this is it. Like, this is gonna be it. It's gonna be the last time I see him. And then like once like the funeral happens, like it's like final. Like he's gone. And I just kept like thinking to myself, like, what was the last thing I said to him? Like, the last time I saw him was for his birthday in February.
Yeah.
And like I didn't even get to say bye to him because I had to go to the office that day, and I was gone before he was even up. So like I didn't get to physically say bye to him. And then he texted me for my birthday when we were in Puerto Rico, and I sent him that picture of me drinking a pina colada, and I was like, liquid diet only. And then he didn't respond, and I was like, motherfucker. I was like, he didn't send me no money. Like, we were teasing him. But it was really hard. It's still hard. Like, it's been a week, we're going on 2 weeks since the services, and like I even went back to work. Like, his services were Memorial Day, and I went back to work the following Monday. I couldn't do it. I literally went to work for 2 days. Well, a day and like a few hours, because I couldn't. Being around, I didn't realize how triggering work was going to be for me. And like I thought I had mentally prepared for work. I thought I was ready, because I was like, oh, I think because I was with everyone, and it started to feel a little bit more comfortable being with everyone. Okay, it's helping me. I was still going to Seoul and like writing, like that helped me a lot too, at least leading up to the funeral. But because of like this novenario, I like stopped writing for a bit. But that first day when I was on that call, and everyone's like, Patty, welcome back, so glad to have you, I like had to fake a smile, and I like almost broke down, and I was like, oh, like, thank you, I'm so glad to be back. I wasn't glad to be back.
Yeah.
I literally was like so anxious, like, when is this call over? Like, I don't want to be on camera, like, I want this to be over. That Tuesday, I had like this big meeting, and I hop on to the meeting, and I'm on it maybe for like an hour 20, hour 15 at most. And I'm like so anxious. I'm like taking notes, but like zoning out, and I'm like freaking out. Like I feel myself like I'm about to have a panic attack. So I'm like trying to just breathe, and I text my manager. I'm like, hi. I'm like, can we hop on a call? And she's like, right now? And I'm like, yes. She's like, okay. So I get off the call, and we get on a Teams call. She's like, hey, Patty, how are you? And I'm like, and she's like, just looking at me, and I just start crying. And I'm like, so I thought I was going to be ready to come back to work. I was like, I didn't expect work to be so triggering for me. I was like, but I think I need more time. Like, I can't. She's like, okay. She's like, take all the time you need. She's like, I want you to take care of yourself. Like, do what you have to do for you. And I was like, okay. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, I was even upset with myself after that call. Like, bitch, what the fuck? Like, you can't even get through a fucking call. Like, literally, just sit there and listen. I couldn't fucking do it. And then I, like, once I hopped off, I just like, cried. And then it hit me. I was like, literally the last time I was in a meeting just like that with the exact same people talking about pretty much the same shit was a month ago when I got the call that my brother had passed. And because I had literally shut work off for so long, I was like, oh, I'm good. Going back to work, it was so hard. So till today, I have time off. Like that literally was last week. And since then, I've just been trying to like still feel productive. So like working on like more creative things, like other things that like will ultimately make me happy and like get me towards my end goal. Which maybe one day I might be able to talk about it on here. Hopefully I get to talk about it on here. But yeah, I think I'm still going through the motions of like realizing like, damn, he's gone. And then like the Novenario just finished. And that was fucking hard. That last day was fucking hard. Because that made it, again, real. Like, he's... And now, like, the silence is starting to kick in. So that's why I'm, like, working from a coffee shop, like, going to class, like, doing, like, trying to do content just to, like, get me out and, like, try and feel something other than sadness. And, like, I don't even know when I'm going to be ready to, like, want to go out and do something. Like, I still kind of, like, feel guilty. I feel uncomfortable. I just want to feel better. Yeah. It just fucking sucks. But if there's one thing I'm taking away from this, or that I have taken away from this, and from the way that my brother lived his life, and just like all the stories, what everyone says about my brother is the same thing. The biggest fucking heart. He didn't hold no grudges, didn't do shit. The thing I'm gonna take away from both my brother and my tío is to live your fucking life
to the fucking fullest
for yourself.
Yeah.
Do what makes you happy at the end of the day, because we only have one life.
You don't know.
You don't know when it's your turn to go.
No.
Unfortunately, my brother's life was taken too soon. Or, yeah, way too soon. And I feel like I'm still young. I need to do things just to, like, make me happy. So that's kind of, like, not, like, lie to myself that I am happy when I'm not happy. Because I haven't been happy for a long time. But yeah, that's kind of, like, my takeaway from all of this. Yeah, so that's why we haven't recorded in 3 months.
Yeah. But yeah, guys, we know, that was a lot. And I mean, thank you, Patty, for just being vulnerable again. It's like, there's no words. But yeah, guys, that's like she said, it's like it's just live your life for you. And yeah, life is fucking short. Well, it really is.
I still can't believe it.
Yeah.
Every time I hear Buzzin', I'm gonna think of him.
1,000%. I know we were at like one of our cousins' birthday. Even that, like, it was literally right after everything.
It was that weekend.
Yeah. And we were like, oh my God, like, what do we do? What not? We went, spent that time with her. And then we were sitting down, and it was right when, like, the DJ just had started pretty much. And then we saw the song, and then Rick and I just looked at each other from across, and we're like, oh my God, like, literally, all of us, even, like all of our cousins, like, all of us, we just kind of looked at each other, like, fuck, like, it's crazy. Like, and then I, like, literally, I was like, fuck, like, he's really, like, like he was gone. Like he's gone.
I truly believe that was him telling you guys, like, I'm with y'all.
Take some shots,
Go
bitches.
take a fucking shot right now.
Damn well, I chugged that shit.
And that's what
I'm chugging my drink.
That's one thing. In this last month, the amount of tequila that we inhaled, because that was him. Like, shots every day. At his fucking viewing, we had a bottle in the car. We took my dad, my brother, me, and my tia, we took a break. Before, like, everyone got there, we went to the car, poured it up, we took a shot. At the end, when, like, before everyone came over to the house, we were all in the parking lot, and we poured it up. Because that's what he would do.
Yeah.
A pistear.
Come on, guys. Always. And then, like, right away, as soon as we were done with another one, hey, y'all ready for another
We're like, oh, fuck, we would hide from him.
Yeah.
But that's one thing, like, he loved, like, if you, like, he didn't, I already said this, but, like, he didn't, don't fuck with people that he loved. And even though, like, my brother, oh, fuck. My brother knew how important Mely is to me. And he knows we're always together. And even though he technically, like, I don't think technically he's your cousin, but, like, he was like, no, like, that's my little cousin.
Yeah.
He like, prima.
Always.
And, like, I know he had your back no matter what. It's just gonna be so weird.
1,000%. Like, yeah, like, literally, I'm like, like, that shit. I remember my dad was just like, are you okay? I'm like, I'm just so sad. Like, because I'm like, he didn't deserve that. And again, he just had such a big heart. He just had such a big heart. And one of the things where you say, literally that, like, the two people, like, it's like, just that live life for them to the fullest. I'm like, oh, they're up there fucking
they're turning the fuck up right now.
But yeah, it's just very, like, I mean, it's hard. And again, like, guys, it's just like back to back. It's like, what do you do? And again, like, it's Patty, like, it's my sister, John Joe, like, I'm like, what do my Nino, like, my Nina, I'm like, what do we say?
I know, what do I say to my, that's the hard part. Like, now it's like my dad.
Yeah, like, it's like, and, seeing him, I know he's not a vulnerable person, but, being there, and he's always there for everyone too, but, like, seeing him go through that, and then, my Nina, obviously, like, the role that she played and he played, and, like, she just lost her brother, she also just went through it. She's trying to be strong for her husband, for the family, so, and I remember, like, with John Joe too, I'm just like, because I know Theo Hector too, like, that hit him hard, and I was just like, we had a conversation, and I was just like, look, like, how are you? He's like, I mean, I'm trying, and then I just see him, he's like crying, and I'm like, oh my god, like, it's just like, what do you say, and then you have Leia, you have Georgie, you're just barely going through that. Leia was, it's a lot to process her too at grandma's house, seeing us all go through everything with our Theo, and then now you have this, and it's like, like, it's just hard. It's like a lot. And then also, like, everyone knows, like, that, everyone's kind of like, when we would run into, like, people, like, through everything, they're like, oh, so, like, oh my god, like, sorry, like, they're also saying sorry for, like, Theo Hector, like, you guys, it was just, everyone was kind of like, what? Like, it's just crazy. It's just crazy.
Yeah, I remember one of our friends, Paulina, we share locations, and she was like, why are you home? And I was like, I had to come home for a family emergency. She's like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I don't think I had told her at that moment, and then I told her, like, later on what happened. She was like, everyone was like, are you fucking kidding me? It's crazy. Grief is a crazy thing, and I know that it's going to be a long process. especially when it happens when you lose someone just like
Unexpected.
suddenly.
Yeah.
Like, because with our tío, we knew this was coming.
Mm-hmm.
We knew this was it. And we just didn't want him to suffer anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But with my brother, like,
Unexpected.
yeah.
Unexpected, sudden. And then just like, even just within these months, like, there's so many people that we know that like
God,
have just
yeah.
passed. So many loved ones close to us that have lost people. Like, it's just crazy. Again,
So many.
Yeah.
Constantly. Monday when I was going through emails, bitch, we had 3 emails that someone affiliated with our company had passed.
Yeah, it's
I literally
crazy.
I had to delete them. I was like, I can't, like.
It's just so much, and again, it's just constantly like what we just said. Life is short, you know. I know, like this week too, my dad's side, like it's just like there's just so many people around. Like, it's fucking insane. But yeah, guys,
I just want to say thanks for being there for me, bitch.
Bitch, I can't even. No.
Thank you. She a real one.
No.
She a real one. But yeah, like, life's too fucking short. That's like the message.
Yeah.
Do what you fucking want. You have one life. Whether you're just starting school, you just decide to quit school, you just start a new job, whether you're early like 20s or your 30s or 40s and you want to change your mind,
Do it.
do it. You only have one fucking life.
Yeah. At the end of the day, it's your happiness that matters. So.
Yep.
That's all.
Oh, okay, I think that's it because I'm gonna get a migraine.
Okay, guys. Well, thank you guys. We know this one was, this one's hard. But this is what this is about. This is what we're going through. This is what Pat is going through. And again, the message behind El Efecto podcast and what we said since the start. So, but yeah, we are the aftermath of our experiences. El Efecto. But yeah, guys, we'll see you guys in next week's episode. Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, and follow our social medias, download on Spotify, etc. We'll see you guys soon. Bye.
Bye.